Well, hello everybody out there and welcome to another random video. So in today's video, I thought let's just compare the picture quality between a cheap VCR and a more expensive VCR. Why am I doing this? Well, because there are a lot of people on the internet that always suggest that if you want to digitize your old VHS tapes, that you should always get a high quality VCR. This way you're supposed to get a much better result and a much better picture quality. Some people even say that you should get a VCR capable of s-vhs, because those VCRs usually have an S-video output, which is supposed to give you an even better quality than an ordinary SCART output. But the problem is that I have never seen any actual comparisons. I've never seen videos or pictures where people actually compared the quality or the picture quality between a cheap VCR and a more expensive VCR. And that's why I'm doing this video, because I want to do exactly that. So first, let's take a look at the two VCRs that I want to compare. So the expensive VCR is the Panasonic s-vhs 820. So as you can tell, it is a VCR capable of s-vhs, so it does has an S-video output, which is exactly what I'm going to use to capture the video. The cheap VCR is the Philips VR550. And as you can see, it's just a plain and very simple VCR, no special features, so I'm going to use the SCART output to capture the video. So I'm going to show you a couple of screenshots that are going to be labeled A and B, and then I'm going to reveal which is which. So let's get started. So at this point, you probably already made up your mind and decided which one you like better, A or B. So now let's reveal which is which. So A, that is the cheap VCR, and B is the more expensive VCR. And yes, we can definitely see a difference. First of all, the cheap VCR, the picture seems to be a little bit more noisy. You know, it's a little bit more grainy of some sort, and it looks harder. Let's just say it like this: harder, but also sharper. It looks like there are a little bit more details. The more expensive VCR, however, has a much softer picture, which might be a little bit more pleasing to the eyes, but at the same time, it looks as if certain things are a little bit out of focus. You know, it looks as if there are slightly less details. So at this point, I would say it's probably down to personal preference which one you like better. You know, it's kind of like with audio, you know, if you like digital or analog, kind of the same thing. So yeah, it still is a tie. But when we look at, for example, the colors, the contrast, and the brightness, that's where I think that the cheap VCR is actually a lot better. The colors are brighter and it has a much better contrast. And I also think that the white looks a lot better because it's actually white. On the more expensive VCR, the white looks almost like a little bit dirty. So yeah, color, brightness, and contrast, those are definitely things where I think that the cheaper VCR is much better. So at this point, let's talk about why that is. Where does this quality difference come from? I would say it has very little to do with the connections, like the difference between SCART and S-video. I don't think that it has anything to do with that. I think the main reason is the fact that the cheap VCR has something that is called digital studio picture control, which probably means that the picture is being digitized and then the VCR applies certain filters to it, or it performs some kind of picture adjustments of some sort, and then the signal is being converted back into an analog signal and sent out. So I think that's the main reason why that is, why the contrast is better and why the overall picture is just brighter. So that basically also means that the result of this comparison would have been different if I would have used a cheap VCR without that digital studio picture control. So you have to bear that in mind. But the conclusion of this video is, don't waste your money on an expensive VCR because the quality difference isn't going to be that significant. And you also have to think about the fact that most people want to record or digitize their private VHS tapes, so tapes that they have recorded themselves. Because the only time when you want to digitize a store-bought pre-recorded VHS is if it's a movie that is very rare and has never gotten any proper DVD or Blu-ray release, or maybe you never managed to get your hands on a Blu-ray or DVD version of that movie. But most people are probably going to digitize their self-recorded VHS tapes. And at this point, you have to think about what kind of VCR did you use when you recorded those tapes, because let's face it, the playback quality can't be better than the recording quality. It's just not going to work. And you can't use an expensive VCR to get your ordinary VHS tapes to look like s-vhs tapes. It's never going to happen. So yeah, that's it. I hope you liked this video. I hope it was informative. And yeah, maybe the next video is going to be another movie review. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.